much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me on the air today.
I appreciate it. Now, far be it from anybody, even a fellow governor, to tell Schwarzenegger what to do, but do you think the governor's got it under control?
Absolutely. And I think so much of the hard work actually takes place before the disaster strikes. I know that here in Louisiana, we deal with hurricanes, not earthquakes, but we actually hired the deputy fire commissioner from Los Angeles to lead up our emergency office. The hard work's before the earthquake. You know, you've got building codes in place, you've got interoperable communications, you've got emergency shelters, you've got cots, you've got food, water, ice. You've got contracts in place ahead of time so that, God forbid, if that disaster happens, you're not scrambling. There are detailed disaster plans. I'm sure the governor went to the Emergency Operational Center. His cabinet's there. They all know they've got distinct responsibilities. People, you do tabletop exercises, you do simulated exercises, so you're not learning for the first time. You drill with your federal partners, your local partners, your National Guard, and local law enforcement. So the reality is states should be well prepared. We know out west they've got wildfires and earthquakes. Here in the south, we've got hurricanes, we've got tornadoes across much of our country. The important thing is preparation, not waiting until the event happens. I think the contrast, you know, after Katrina, what you saw was they didn't have enough contracts for buses. They didn't have the ice, the water, the food pre-positioned. Now, certainly this was a storm bigger than they expected, but I think the lesson learned going forward is that every state, certainly it was a good reminder that every state needs to be prepared before a disaster happens. And then secondly, it is so important that families be prepared for, they've got some personal responsibility during these disasters as well.
Well, Governor, one thing that became absolutely clear during Katrina was the fact that everybody seemed to be throwing up their hands in that first week and pointing to the other guy. There needs to be, whenever there's a natural emergency such as this, there needs to be somebody who's willing to come in and take charge in a very direct way, a Terminator sort of way. Is that what was missing with Katrina, and is that what we now have in California?
Well, look, clearly, one of the reasons the military was so effective on the ground in Louisiana was there was a clear chain of command. There was also a goals-oriented culture. They weren't worried about permission or paperwork. They just had the attitude of getting it done. And I think it's so important, even before the disaster strikes, everybody knows who's in charge, who's going to take responsibility for which operations. And look, when something happens in your state as governor, you've got to be willing to make those hard choices and not worry about taking the blame later. You need to empower your people to make common sense decisions. You remember during Katrina, you had truckloads of water, ice, and food turned away because they didn't fill out the right forms. First responders not allowed to help because they didn't have permission from the right people. You've got to have a sense of urgency. You've got to, but again, you can't create that when a disaster strikes. You've got to drill and be prepared for that ahead of time. Having a unified chain of command, that's one of the reasons the military did such a great job. A lot of not-for-profit, faith-based groups, private companies also helped us as well.
There were a lot of people that went out of their way and deserve a medal for what they did. But again, without having somebody that was directly in charge, a governor of the state that could have been as in charge as they should have been, there were a lot of things that slipped by during that disaster.
Well, and you know, you can't worry about who gets credit or who gets blame. You can't worry. The reality was there was a lot of blame to go around at the state and the federal level, but the important thing is never again. Here in Louisiana, we'll have a much more robust response. We've got interoperable communications, hardened shelters, pre-existing contracts, and you know, we're not meeting folks for the first time during a disaster. We know our partners. We've drilled with our partners, but I can't emphasize enough, there also needs to be personal responsibility. We've educated our people. You better have food and water and batteries and flashlights and radios. Have an evacuation plan wherever you live in our country. You've got to, you know that the government will do a better job than what you saw during Katrina, but that doesn't remove your personal responsibility to also be prepared. Could be a terrorist attack, could be an earthquake, could be a tornado or a hurricane or a flood. Make sure you've got your prescriptions. Make sure you know where you take your pets, your kids. Make sure you know what you would do, God forbid, if a disaster struck your area.
All right. Governor Bobby Jindal, a lot of your positive ratings come directly because of what you've done after Katrina to get your state back in order. Again, a Democratic state with a Republican governor. Quickly, Governor, I got to ask you, are you going to be the vice presidential candidate with John McCain?
I'm not. We've got a lot more work to do in Louisiana. We've cut 6 taxes, reformed ethics, but we've just started. I'm voting for Senator McCain. I'll help him get elected, but I'll do it as governor.
Who else would you vote for besides, who else on the ticket? Who would you like to see as VP?
Well, you know, the great thing is he's got a number of great choices. The only criterion he should use is who does he think could step in as president. God forbid if that were to arise. Who does he think would do the... Don't worry about geography. Don't worry about political considerations. Just pick who you think would do the best job if they were called to serve that way.
Well, you're still young. Happy birthday, by the way. On the 10th of July, you turned 37. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Governor. Well, Dr.